When people ask me how heavy their carry-on should be, they're usually expecting me to quote an airline rule, maybe 15 pounds or 22 pounds or whatever their airline happens to allow. But honestly, I don't think that's the right question because your airline doesn't have to lift your suitcase in the overhead bin. You do. Your airline doesn't have to carry it across 2 terminals because your connecting gate changed. You do. And your airline doesn't have to drag it up a broken escalator, carry it down a flight of stairs, or lift it into the trunk of a taxi. You do. So today, I want to share what I think is a much better way to decide how heavy your carry-on should be. Instead of asking, what's the airline's weight limit, we're going to ask, what's your weight limit? Because that answer is different for every traveler. And once you figure yours out, travel gets a whole lot easier. Mistake number 1, packing to the airline's weight limit instead of yours. I think this is probably the biggest misconception people have about carry-on luggage. They assume that if the airline allows it, they should use it. Now on paper, this makes perfect sense. If the airline says your carry-on can weigh 22 pounds, why not pack 22 pounds? And that's because the airline's rule isn't based on what's comfortable. It's based on what their aircraft can accommodate. And those are 2 completely different things. Think about what happens on a normal travel day. You leave your house, you lift your suitcase into your car, you lift it back out. Maybe you wheel it through a parking garage. Maybe you lift it onto an airport shuttle. Then you pull it through the terminal. Then you lift it onto the security conveyor. Then you pull it some more. Then you lift it into the overhead bin. And then you reverse the entire process when you land. That's a lot of lifting. And here's something I've noticed after decades of traveling. The suitcase almost never feels heaviest when you're packing it. It feels heaviest after you've already been traveling for 6 or 7 hours. When you're tired and your shoulders are sore, when your flight's been delayed, when your gate changed twice, when you're trying to catch a connection, and when you're dragging it across thick hotel carpet as you finally walk to your room. That's when those extra 5 pounds suddenly matter. So instead of asking, can my airline handle this weight? I think a much better question is, will I still be happy lifting this at the end of a long travel day? Because that's the weight that actually matters. Mistake number 2, failing the can I lift it test. Now let's make this really practical. I have a very simple test that I use and I call it the can I lift it test. And here's how it works. Pack your suitcase exactly the way you normally would. Zip it closed. Now lift it. Not once, 3 times. Lift it from the floor to about shoulder height, set it down, do it again, then do it again 1 more time. And if that already feels like work, it's too heavy. Because remember, you're doing this at home. You're rested. You're not in a crowded boarding area. Nobody's waiting behind you. And you haven't been walking through an airport for hours. If it already feels challenging here, it's only going to feel harder later. And I think this is especially important as we age. Not because we're incapable, but because travel injuries are surprisingly easy to create. A little twist while lifting, a shoulder that's already a little irritated, a suitcase that shifts unexpectedly, and suddenly you strain something before your vacation has even started. And that's just not worth it. One thing I remind myself of all the time is this. There is a big difference between I can lift it and I can comfortably lift it without thinking about it. And we're aiming for the second one. Because travel should feel manageable, not like a strength competition. Mistake number 3, failing the 20-minute walk test. Now, here's a test that I think surprises people the most, the 20-minute walk test. Because here's the reality. Most travelers dramatically underestimate how much walking they actually do. Think about some of the biggest airports: Atlanta, Dallas, Denver, London Heathrow, Amsterdam. Gosh, Amsterdam, I swear that airport goes forever. A gate change alone can easily turn into a 15 or 20-minute walk. Now, add a connection or baggage claim or customs or a rental car shuttle or walking through your hotel before you finally can put your suitcase down. It adds up quickly, and yes, your suitcase has wheels. Yeah, mine does too. But wheels don't eliminate weight. They just change how you experience it. You're still steering it, you're still pulling it over carpet, you're lifting it over curbs, navigating crowded terminals, getting it on and off trains, and rolling it over uneven sidewalks. every one of those moments reminds you how heavy your luggage really is. So here's another simple exercise. The next time you've packed for a trip, don't just lift your suitcase, take it for a walk. Seriously. I mean, don't do this every time you fly, but if you don't know what your personal weight limit is, go figure it out. And if you're about to go on a big European vacation with just a carry-on and you've never figured out your weight limit, it's time to get stepping, right? Walk around your neighborhood, walk around your driveway, walk through your house if the weather's bad or you fear your neighbors might look at you weird if they see you running around pushing a suitcase. However you do it, just do it. Spend 20 minutes pulling it behind you, then ask yourself, would I still be perfectly happy doing this after a delayed flight? If the answer is yes, great, you're probably in a really good place. If the answer is, I'm already getting tired, then that is valuable information. Because the goal isn't to pack as much as possible. The goal is to travel as comfortably as possible. And sometimes those are two very different things. One thing you'll probably notice is that none of these first three mistakes have anything to do with the airline. They have everything to do with your body. All right, so now let's talk about one of the biggest myths in travel. If it has wheels, the weight doesn't matter. And I understand why people think that, because rolling a suitcase is certainly easier than carrying one. But wheels only help you when you're actually rolling. And the reality is, travel days involve a lot more lifting than most people realize. You still have to lift your suitcase into the trunk of your car, then back out again, onto the baggage scale if you're checking it, onto the security conveyor if it's a carry-on, into the overhead bin, back down when you land, into another car, sometimes onto a hotel luggage cart, over curbs, over cobblestone streets, and sometimes across thick carpets. And also those little metal things between the jet bridge and the airplane, like those things. Anyway, suddenly those wheels aren't doing much at all. And one of the things I always tell people is, don't judge your suitcase by how it feels rolling across a smooth airport tile. Judge it by the hardest thing you'll have to do with it that day, because that's the moment that matters. For me, it's often the super thick carpet in the really long hallways at hotels. I do not know what they make hotel carpets out of, but it is impossible to get an effortless glide on them. It takes work. And I think people forget that even rolling a heavy suitcase can take effort. If you've ever pulled one through a crowded airport, you know exactly what I mean. You're constantly steering around people, changing directions, stopping, starting, avoiding kids, avoiding strollers, avoiding people who just like stop in the middle of the walkway. It's not difficult, but it is work. And the heavier your suitcase becomes, the more noticeable that work becomes by the end of the day. So yes, buy the suitcase with good wheels. Absolutely. They make travel much easier. Just don't assume great wheels magically make a heavy suitcase feel light, because unfortunately, they don't. Mistake number 5, forgetting about stairs, trains, and broken escalators. Now here's something that nobody plans for, right? The airport that doesn't cooperate. Because in our minds, everything works perfectly. The moving walkways are running, the escalators are working, and the elevators arrive immediately, and the airport train is always just waiting. Then travel day happens. The escalator is out of service. Now everyone is using the stairs. The elevator has a line 20 people deep, the moving walkway is closed for maintenance, and the airport train just left. And the next one isn't coming for another few minutes. These are not unusual situations. They're actually pretty common. And when they happen, your luggage suddenly feels a whole lot heavier. I know I've been stuck walking downstairs with my carry-on thinking, thank heavens this thing is light, because every extra pound would have made that walk a lot less enjoyable. One thing I encourage people to think about is this. Could you comfortably carry your suitcase up or down one flight of stairs if you absolutely had to? Not because you definitely need to, but because, sometimes you do. And if the answer is, honestly, I'd really struggle, that's probably a sign your suitcase is carrying more than it needs to. I think this is especially important if you're traveling internationally. Many older train stations, small hotels, historic buildings, or even vacation rentals don't always have elevators. Or if they do, they are tiny. Sometimes you'll find yourself carrying your luggage further than you expected. Again, It's not about preparing for every possible scenario. It's about making sure one unexpected inconvenience doesn't become a miserable experience, because the lighter your luggage, the more resilient your travel day becomes. Okay, mistake number 6, carrying weight in the wrong bag. This next mistake is one we've actually touched on in a few other videos, but it's worth mentioning again because I think it fits kind of perfectly here. Sometimes the problem isn't how much you're carrying, it's where you're carrying it. I see people all the time with an extremely heavy backpack while their rolling carry-on is almost empty. Or they're carrying a giant shoulder tote that's pulling them sideways even though they have a perfectly good suitcase rolling next to them. That's backwards. Remember what we talked about in my personal item system video. Your personal item isn't supposed to become your second suitcase, it's supposed to be mission control, your valuables, your travel day essentials, the things you'll actually need before you reach your hotel. Everything else should be riding on wheels whenever possible. Now, obviously there are limits. You don't want your rolling suitcase becoming so heavy that it creates a different problem, but I think it's worth asking yourself, am I carrying this or is my luggage carrying it? Because if your shoulders are aching, your neck hurts, or you're constantly switching hands, there's a good chance your weight distribution needs some work. Personally, I want the heaviest item sitting on wheels whenever I reasonably can. Then I want my personal item carrying only what I actually need access to during travel. That one change alone often makes people feel dramatically better walking through the airport. Not because they're carrying less, but because they're carrying smarter. And that's really the theme of today's video. This isn't about packing less for the sake of packing less. It's about making your travel day easier on your body. Because if your body feels good, then travel feels good. Okay, mistake number 7, thinking carry-on is always the better choice. This is the one that surprises people when I say it. Sometimes checking a bag is actually the smarter decision. I know, I spend a lot of time talking on this channel about how carry-on travel is perfect, right? And for a lot of trips, I still think it's the best option. You avoid baggage claim, you eliminate the risk of delayed luggage, you get out of the airport faster. Those are all real advantages. But here's what I don't want. I don't want someone carrying a suitcase that's too heavy for their body just because they feel like they should avoid checking a bag. Remember, the goal isn't to win some imaginary award for traveling carry-on only. The goal is to have an enjoyable trip. And if navigating the airport with your suitcase is causing shoulder pain or back pain, or you're dreading lifting it into the overhead bin, then you've crossed the line where carry-on has stopped making your travel easier, and that's the whole point. Your luggage should make travel easier, not harder. I also think we sometimes underestimate how much energy we spend managing heavy luggage, especially if you're taking a longer trip. Maybe you're bringing hiking boots or scuba gear or camera equipment or winter clothing. There are trips where those things genuinely make sense. And that doesn't mean you have to carry all of it through the airport yourself. One thing I ask myself is, will checking the suitcase improve my travel day more than avoiding baggage claim? Sometimes the answer is no, but sometimes it's absolutely yes. And I think giving yourself permission to make that decision is really important, because travel isn't about proving anything to anyone else. It's about choosing the option that's going to leave you feeling the best. And if that means checking a suitcase, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, the last mistake is never actually figuring out what your own limit is. We spent this entire video talking about airline limits versus body limits, and now let's put all that together into something simple you can actually use. I call it your personal carry-on weight formula. And no, it's not a specific number, because I don't think there is one number that works for everyone. Someone who's 25, travels every month, and has no trouble lifting 50 pounds is going to have a very different answer than someone who's 70, or someone who's had shoulder surgery, or someone who has chronic back pain. These are all completely different situations. So instead, I like to use 4 simple questions. Question number 1. Can I comfortably lift this into the overhead bin 3 times in a row? Not barely, comfortably. Question number 2. Could I walk with this for 20 minutes without wishing I'd packed less? Question number 3. Could I carry it up or down a flight of stairs if I absolutely had to? And finally, question number 4. If my travel day went completely sideways, would I still be okay managing this bag? Because let's be honest, those are the days that really test our luggage. The delayed flights, the gate changes, the misconnections, the broken escalators, and the long walks. If your answer is yes to all 4 questions, then you've probably found your personal maximum. If you're hesitating or you're saying, well, I probably could, I'd seriously consider taking a few things out or just check your bag. Because here's something I've noticed after decades of traveling. I've almost never heard someone say, I wish I had a heavier suitcase. But I've heard plenty of people say, I wish I'd packed less. And that tells us something. The extra shoes, the just-in-case outfit, the 4th sweater, those things rarely improve the trip, but carrying them certainly affects the journey. And I think that's an important distinction. All right, now it's time for the recap rundown. The biggest carry-on weight mistakes are packing to your airline's weight limit instead of your body's weight limit, failing the can I lift it test, failing the 20-minute walk test, assuming wheels eliminate the problem, forgetting about stairs, trains, curves, and broken escalators, carrying too much weight in your personal item instead of letting your suitcase do the work, assuming carry-on is always the smartest choice, and never figuring out your own personal maximum carry-on weight. Notice something? Not one of those had anything to do with airline rules. Every single one had to do with making travel easier on your body, because your body is what's carrying your luggage, not the airline. And when you start thinking about luggage that way, something interesting happens. You stop asking, can I fit one more thing? And you start asking, do I really want to carry one more thing? And that is a much better question. If you found this video helpful, I think you'll really enjoy my video on how to decide what belongs in your personal item versus your carry-on item. And because once you figured out how much you should be carrying, the next step is making sure you're carrying the right things in the right bag. It all works together to make travel simpler, more comfortable, and a whole lot less stressful. If that's the kind of travel you're looking for, I'd love to have you subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.